Welcome, friends, to the first episode of our YouTube channel, Cryptic Nights podcast. Tonight's story is about the Cursed Manor, an eerie mansion where Rudra Pratap Singh, a landlord, killed his wife out of suspicion. Since then, strange and horrifying events have plagued the mansion. Join us as we delve into the spine-chilling tale of three friends who dared to explore this haunted place. In the heart of a dense forest, far from the bustling city, stood an old and abandoned mansion known as Rudra Manor. The mansion, once the home of a powerful landlord named Rudra Pratap Singh, had been the site of unspeakable tragedy. Years ago, driven by jealousy and suspicion, Rudra Pratap Singh murdered his wife, and from that moment on, the manor became a hub of supernatural activity. One foggy evening, three friends, Rohit, Simi, and Arpit, driven by their love for adventure and thrill, decided to explore the infamous Rudra Manor. Armed with flashlights and a camera to document their journey, they made their way through the dense forest until the looming silhouette of the mansion came into view. As they approached, the air grew colder, and an eerie silence enveloped the surroundings. The once grand entrance of the manor now stood in ruins, with vines and overgrowth swallowing the structure. With a deep breath, Rohit pushed open the creaking door, and they stepped inside. The interior of the manor was shrouded in darkness, save for the beams of their flashlights cutting through the thick dust in the air. The floorboards groaned under their weight, and cobwebs adorned every corner. The smell of decay and mildew was overpowering. "Let's split up and cover more ground," Rohit suggested, his voice echoing in the vast, empty space. They agreed and went their separate ways, each taking a different section of the mansion. Simi ventured into what appeared to be the living room. Old, tattered furniture lay strewn about, and portraits of stern-looking ancestors hung crookedly on the walls. As she examined one of the portraits, a cold breeze brushed against her neck. She spun around, her flashlight revealing nothing but empty space. Her heart raced, but she shook off the feeling and continued exploring. Arpit made his way to the dining hall. A long, dusty table stretched across the room, with chairs toppled over and broken. As he walked past the table, he heard a faint whisper. "Arpit?" He froze, the hair on his neck standing up. "Who's there?" he called out, but only silence answered. Determined to find the source of the voice, he pressed on. Meanwhile, Rohit had found the staircase leading to the upper floors. Each step creaked ominously as he ascended. At the top, a long hallway stretched before him, with doors on either side. He chose the first door on the left and entered a bedroom. The bed was unmade, with moth-eaten sheets and a heavy layer of dust. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind him. He turned quickly, his flashlight flickering. He jiggled the handle, but it wouldn't budge. "Guys, I think I'm stuck," Rohit shouted, hoping his friends would hear him. Simi and Arpit, having heard Rohit's shout, rushed towards the stairs. As they met at the bottom, they shared their unsettling experiences. Together, they hurried up the staircase to find Rohit. In the bedroom, Rohit continued to struggle with the door when he heard a soft sobbing coming from the closet. His heart pounded in his chest as he approached the closet door. "Hello?" he called out, his voice trembling. The sobbing stopped. With shaking hands, he slowly opened the closet door. There, huddled in the corner, was a spectral figure of a woman, her face hidden by her long dark hair. "Please, help me," the figure whispered, her voice filled with despair. Rohit backed away, horrified. Just then, the door to the bedroom burst open, and Simi and Arpit rushed in. They saw the figure too, and for a moment, they all stood frozen in terror. The woman lifted her head, revealing hollow, empty eyes. "You should not have come here," she hissed. The room grew colder, and the walls seemed to close in on them. "We need to get out of here," Arpit yelled. They turned and fled down the hallway, the woman's wails echoing behind them. As they descended the stairs, the mansion seemed to come alive. The floorboards cracked and the walls shook. The once quiet manor was now filled with unearthly noises. They reached the front door, only to find it locked tight. "There's a window in the living room," Simi shouted. They dashed towards the living room, the woman's cries growing louder and more frantic. Arpit grabbed a chair and threw it at the window, shattering the glass. One by one, they climbed out, cutting themselves on the shards in their haste. Once outside, they didn't stop running until they reached the edge of the forest. Panting and covered in sweat, they turned to look back at the manor. The figure of the woman stood at the broken window, watching them with those haunting, empty eyes. Back in the safety of their homes, they shared their ordeal with anyone who would listen. But their story was met with skepticism and disbelief. The terror of Rudra Manor stayed with them, a constant reminder of their brush with the supernatural. They vowed never to return, but the memory of that night never faded. Rudra Manor still stands, its dark history hidden within its walls, waiting for the next set of curious souls to wander into its cursed embrace. Tonight, we embark on a journey into the depths of fear with The Haunting of Hollow Hill. Join us as we uncover the dark secrets of an abandoned mansion and the sinister forces that linger within its walls. In the heart of the countryside, nestled among the rolling hills, lies an ancient mansion known as Hollow Hill. Once a grand estate, it now stands abandoned and decaying, its once magnificent halls shrouded in darkness and mystery. Three intrepid adventurers, Priya, Samir, and Ravi, intrigued by the tales of Hollow Hill's haunted past, set out to explore its forgotten corridors. Armed with only their courage and a few flickering torches, they ventured into the night, eager to uncover the truth behind the mansion's sinister reputation. As they approached Hollow Hill, a sense of foreboding washed over them, the air thick with anticipation and unease. The mansion loomed before them like a silent sentinel, its windows like vacant eyes staring out into the night. Undeterred by the ominous atmosphere, they pushed open the creaking doors and stepped inside. The air was heavy with dust and decay, the scent of old wood and musty books lingering in the air. Shadows danced on the walls as their torchlight flickered, casting eerie shapes and forms. They made their way through the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, each step echoing in the silence like a whisper from the past. They passed grand ballrooms and forgotten libraries, their once opulent furnishings now covered in cobwebs and dust. Suddenly, they heard a faint sound echoing through the halls, a soft, mournful melody that sent shivers down their spines. They exchanged nervous glances, their hearts pounding in their chests as they followed the sound deeper into the mansion. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a sight that chilled them to the bone. A ghostly figure standing at the end of the hallway, its form translucent and ethereal. It beckoned to them with spectral hands, its voice a haunting whisper on the wind. Paralyzed with fear, they watched as the figure drew closer, its features shifting and changing like smoke in the moonlight. With a sudden burst of courage, Priya called out, "Who are you? What do you want?" The figure's voice echoed through the halls, filled with sorrow and longing. "We are the lost souls of Hollow Hill, trapped in this eternal twilight. We seek only peace and release from our torment." As the figure drew closer, they could see the faces of the mansion's former residents reflected in its ghostly form, their eyes hollow and their expressions twisted in pain. With a sense of dread, Priya, Samir, and Ravi turned and fled, their torches casting long shadows on the walls as they ran. Through the twisting corridors and darkened halls they raced, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the silence like a drumbeat of fear. But no matter how fast they ran, the mansion seemed to stretch on endlessly before them, its walls closing in like the jaws of a predator. Just when they thought they could run no further, they stumbled upon a hidden staircase leading down into the depths of the mansion. With no other options left, they descended into the darkness, their hearts pounding with fear and desperation. In the depths of the mansion's basement, they found themselves in a maze of forgotten chambers and hidden passages, the air thick with the scent of decay and despair. They could feel the presence of the mansion's restless spirits all around them, their whispers like a chilling breeze in the darkness. With each step they took, the air grew colder and the shadows deeper, until they feared they would be swallowed whole by the darkness. But still they pressed on, driven by a desperate need to escape the clutches of the mansion's malevolent grasp. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, their ordeal came to an end. They burst out of the darkness and into the cold light of the night, their breath coming in ragged gasps as they collapsed on the ground, exhausted and shaken, but alive. As they lay there, Staring up at the stars, they knew that they had narrowly escaped the clutches of Hollow Hill's dark past. But as they looked back at the mansion looming in the distance, they couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching them still. Its secrets waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek them out. Join us next time on Cryptic Nights podcast as we delve deeper into the darkness with another spine-tingling tale of terror. Until then, stay safe, dear listeners. And remember, to stay updated with more bone-chilling tales like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and smash that like button. Until next time, stay spooky, my friends.